3 massive doll models were suspended on the bridge. Below the bridge, 2 speedboats were rushing by. The boats were filled with fully armed US soldiers. Their mission this time was to escort the leader of a hostile organization, Bury. A hostage exchange was to take place on this bridge. The US forces had stationed snipers at a distance, with armored vehicles parked behind them. Night quickly fell. The snipers spotted the hostages to be exchanged. They immediately reported to the sergeant in charge of the operation. Only after confirming the exact numbers did the sergeant make the call. He indicated that the hostage exchange could begin. The sergeant lifted Bury's mask. Bury started walking toward the other side. The kidnappers simultaneously released all the hostages. Bury reached the enemy's territory. At this point, disagreements arose between the hostages and the kidnappers. Adding to the complication, the US troops could not understand the local language. Misreading the movements as aggression, the soldiers prepared for action. The sniper reported that Bury had mounted a motorcycle and was ready to leave. The sergeant suspected that the hostages might be part of an enemy trap. They could be carrying explosives, and letting them in might trigger a massacre. The hostages remained stationary. The opposing side grew impatient. They fired warning shots into the air, urging the hostages to move. The sergeant misinterpreted this as an attack order. He immediately commanded his troops to open fire, sparking a firefight on the bridge. Fortunately, machine gun support from the armored vehicles nearby helped stabilize the situation. Snipers in the distance also provided cover, quickly bringing the situation under control. Soldier Jack ignored the sergeant's orders. He risked leaving cover to rescue the hostages. These hostages were all relatives of local soldiers like him. Jack's rescue attempt failed. Not only were the hostages killed before his eyes, but his leg was also injured. The enemies were finally eliminated. When the sergeant checked the battlefield, he discovered bombs strapped to the hostages. It was sheer luck that most people survived. Otherwise, the majority would have died there. 3 months quickly passed. The sergeant was training local soldiers. Returning from leave, Lee greeted the sergeant. They planned to go to a restaurant for a meal. On the way, the sergeant saw Jack's family. He asked about Jack's condition and suggested he emigrate to the US. Jack insisted on staying at the front line, so the sergeant postponed his advice. After leaving the camp, Jack returned home. A car pulled up to his doorstep. To his surprise, Jack's doctor emerged, along with arms dealer Danavy. Not long after, Jack returned to the camp. The sergeant was carrying out a mission in the city. He confirmed whether Danavy had arrived there as well. As they drove to the location indicated by intelligence, they spotted Danavy. The sergeant had no idea Danavy had been at Jack's home earlier. Jack called the sergeant. Hearing silence on the line, the sergeant immediately asked what had happened. All he heard was Jack's crying. Jack hung up after asking the sergeant to protect his family. Sensing something was wrong, the sergeant immediately halted the mission and reported to the base. By this time, Jack had arrived at the restaurant as instructed. The dog kept growling at Jack, causing him to panic. Jack pulled the bomb detonator from his pocket.